So back today, back on this episode number 2. I got a special guest today, one of the athletes that I met, I believe, freshman year. And he's, one of the athletes that when you talk about really just going through the process and really just putting your head down and working, he's definitely a guy who has done that. And so he's on today, and I think he's a great guy for people to learn from, a great, example for athletes to learn from. His name is Ethan Chambers. I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself, tell you guys a little bit more about him, and then we'll get right into this thing. So can I kind of give him a background of who you are?
I'm Ethan Chambers. I'm a senior this year, class of 21. I play football at Homestead. I started training here after off-season my freshman year. So that would have been 17, I believe, 2017. So this is like my 4th season, like 3rd year training here. I'm going to play football at Indiana State. Receiver, I don't know if I said that or not. I forget.
Go ahead. You good?
I don't know what else there's to say.
It's cool. It's cool. They'll get to know you as we get going with everything. So last week, I spoke about really just as a trainer, being able to be humble and being able to be challenged by those that you are leading. And this dude is one of those guys that, for me personally, he came in and very intelligent. What 4.2 GPA?
Freshman year, yeah.
Freshman year, so it's still above the fours. But he was one of those young men that challenged me to really expand and grow in what I knew, and my ability to reach and help. And he'll tell you he didn't come in as a super athlete. He wasn't that at all. He was one of those question marks where you didn't know what was going to happen and what you were going to do with him.
Right.
But he worked extremely hard. But I think the thing that really separated him in his process was that he was willing to ask questions and he wanted to know more about what he was doing and why he was doing it so that he can get the most out of his experience. And, he's a key reason as to why I know me personally that I've been able to develop not just as a trainer, but as a man and really being able to learn and grow myself no matter, what age I am and where I am in life. And so he's an interesting guy. He comes from a very strong family. His mom, Jody, and his dad, Barry, who are, key aspects to his development, his foundation, and just grateful people. And so every time I see them, they just all the time just, thank you, thank you, thank you. And, those are people that I definitely admire because they are parents who didn't force anything on their child. They allowed their child to grow. It was all him that he wanted to, really develop and really put forth the effort to become what he wanted to become. So, can you give us a little bit more about your background? One, I know that this is also unique for me too because you're not just a physical athlete. You're a mental, a moral, a spiritual athlete as well. So, kind of just give us a background about your upbringing and really, what got you to where you are, being a D1 commit.
One thing that really played a role in it, I would say, is my parents, like you said, they never forced anything on me. It was all voluntary. And I think that played a huge role in it because a lot of time I know a lot of kids who are forced to play sports, a lot of kids on my team who are forced to play football, and they don't have a love for it. And then it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy that could be used better in other places. So I would think not forcing a child to play sport, that played a big role in it. And the support system they provided for me, and whatever I did, they were always there for me. They may not have been as knowledgeable in what I was doing, or they may not have understood the things, but they were always there. Hey, whatever you need, we're willing to give that to you. My dad, he talked about it the other day. He said he was always willing or always desired to give us anything we needed to be successful in whatever we chose to do. He never pushed us one way or one direction. The only influence I say in like what sport we played or playing sports is we had to do less chores. If we played a sport, we'd have to do as many chores. So I was always in a sport. But I think them always being willing to sacrifice financially, mentally, whatever it was, they were always there for me, willing to do whatever it took for me to be successful.
Now, I know one of our first experiences that we had collectively, and I think I mentioned this to you. Um, and let me say this first. Earlier, I spoke about how Ethan's not just a physical athlete; he's a mental, moral, and spiritual athlete. And he takes a lot of focus and puts a lot of emphasis on those aspects of his life. And so, one of the first experiences I had with him, it was actually in regards to a spiritual conversation that we had. And, I spoke on, things that I believe and, the way I may have learned to interpret certain scriptures and whatnot. And all I remember is that I got a long text message, a super long text message. And it was, I don't know if it was a disapproval or just a rebuttal, but it was a very, very long text message. And he was speaking to me on how what I said he may have seen it a different way. How I said how he perceived it one way or whatnot, and that was the start of a relationship that we have right now, where he's very very well versed in the Bible, and he's a strong believer in Christ. He's a strong believer in God, and I think obviously we spend a lot of time in society detaching those two, and we lose the foundational aspect of why we do things. And he was a guy that he's kept that intact this whole time. And he's recently experienced some things in school that, or in just his journey in sports, that forced him to really challenge what his foundation was. And so, can you talk to us a little bit more about your relationship as it relates to the spiritual? Because you are a very spiritual human being, as we all are. We just haven't really tapped into it, some of us. But talk to us about that, because I believe that that is a key reason, or the key reason, why you are where you are today.
I would say being raised in a Christian household, similar to sports, my dad never forced us to go to church. He was never like, "Come on, get up, we got to go around." Because so then, like, when we went, it was a desire, it was our own free will, and it wasn't like I was there because my dad made me. So I wasn't dreading it. I wasn't like, "Man, I'm only here because my dad's making me." But just knowing that, giving yourself a purpose or realizing how you got here, why you're here, who you're here for, that just gives you another motivator to work for something outside of yourself or outside of material things. And having a motivator like that, I think, really helps. Outside of just having a relationship with the creator, I think that just even in personal goals and trying to reach your aspirations, I think that's a huge part of it. And then just gratefulness, trying to remain humble, thinking that everything that I have isn't because of me, because there's a lot of situations that I've got, like a lot of opportunities I've had that could not have been made possible if it weren't for his will. And that, like we talked about at my signing, it was a dead period for D1, but Coach Mallory was able to go to that showcase because it just so happened that his son was a receiver in my grade as well. So that was something that it had to have been God's will. That wouldn't have been able to happen with all the COVID and whatnot. So I think just being able to recognize things aren't chance, but like are God's will or God moving. If you can do that, I think it really help you to take a step back and be grateful and just reach your goals more efficiently.
And I think this is so key because, again, like I said, so oftentimes, man, society wants us to detach ourselves, or they want us to be a certain way. And so, being able to say that you're a believer, or you follow Christ, or whatever that is that you deem or subscribe to, man, society wants you to really shy away from it, and they don't, to walk bold in that and to be strong in that is sometimes shunned upon, because people get to a certain point where they look for the flaws in it, and there's flaws in a lot of things, and flaws in whether we subscribe to certain things. There's just flaws, right? There's not a lot of perfection in the world. So I think for you, it's really a testament to who you are, and the fact that you can hold true and hold strong to what you believe, and not deviate because things weren't happening the way you wanted them to happen, in your whole journey. And as he spoke about it, this guy literally had 0 scholarship offers before the summer. We're going through COVID. We're going through a dead period. Schools aren't out recruiting. They can't. They're limited. And he just worked at it and worked at it and worked at it. And when he first got into the organization, he never came across as a D1 athlete, right? He had he was a 4.22 GPA guy. And he came in and he looked like he just did not belong in the athletic realm. And no offense, but
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
okay, it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. And so, but he didn't look like he, obviously was the D1 because he wasn't the D1 at that time. And I believe his belief in himself and it's one thing to believe in yourself, but then to have endurance in that belief and to keep it rolling. He had that and he kept it in. He got to a point where in the midst of some of the most difficult times in recruiting, he pulled off a D1 scholarship. And, a scholarship is a blessing, by itself, but to pull off a D1 scholarship, it really speaks to it. And, not to mention that, this is his first real year of playing varsity football. He didn't even play varsity football as much his junior year. So talk to us a little bit more about how that whole journey, because, you didn't play until this year and you were actually a key contributor to the program.
Last year, there was a lot of I mean, it may not have went how I wanted with playing time. Obviously, I didn't get to play as much as I would have liked to, but there were some good guys ahead of me, and I just had to trust coaches. You just got to trust your organization, and obviously it worked out in the end. But it's tough working as hard as you are, or constantly grinding and not seeing any external success. But that's where you weed out the weak, and that's where the people who aren't seeing the results that they want or aren't getting the offers or the looks or the phone calls from coaches. When you're not getting that and you're able to keep going, I think that's you really gain ground, not only in an external way, but internally. If you're able to continue to push against something that's not giving, if you're able to keep doing that, I think that'll really help you in all aspects of life and any adversity you may face.
Talk to us a little bit more about the internal versus external success, because you speak a lot about that, and I know that's something that you pride yourself on. So talk to us about what that means to you, and how do you operate, in the midst of so many people focus on the external success.
So I would define the external success as like material things or things that are more of the world rather than of yourself. So internal success would be spiritual things like little battles you face, maybe overcoming temptation, or like if you set little goals for yourself, or you're doing a workout and you don't think you can hit this weight for this many reps, but you're able to do that. I think those are the internal successes, and those are the things that really motivate me more than external, because like you said, I didn't have the looks or the offers or anything, or the playing time, the film, none of that up until this last season. So I think that if you're able to focus more on advancing yourself rather than getting recognition, if you focus on staying true to yourself rather than seeking the approval of others, I think that's really what's going to move you forward.
Yeah, and I want to touch on the fact that you talk about seeking the approval of others. And I know I experienced this when I was going through my journey in sports, and I know that this is something that you experienced to some degree. And I'll say this statement. Sometimes when you want certain people to believe in you, sometimes if they do decide to believe in you, or they do, for whatever reason, get to a point where they believe in you, sometimes the right person can believe in you in a wrong time, and it'd be a detriment to where you're trying to go. And so this is why internal belief and internal focus and drive is critical, because how often do athletes look for someone to believe in themselves, and by having someone believe in themselves, they fall short. And so, we have to be very careful, because sometimes you need certain people not to believe in you. And I think that's what you have went through is if you stuck with, if this person believes in me, I'll be fine. If this person doesn't believe in me, then I'm gonna struggle. But the ability to just believe in yourself and to really work at it, and to not focus on who believes in you and who does not believe in you, allowing you to get there. So I would definitely love to hear, how your faith was tested throughout this journey, and how you kept the faith and got to a certain point. Like what type of emotions did you encounter or experience as it relates to you going through the ups and the downs and the difficulties and the struggles and the pain, disappointment, all of these things that you experience, because it's what, 3 or 4 years that you've actually been grinding and training and nothing came about until the last second. So how did that affect or impact your faith in yourself?
In all honesty, I'm not trying to like talk myself up, but I don't think I struggle very much with it,
Mm-hmm.
just because I truly believe that um, when you work so hard at something, you're gonna reap the benefits of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a D3, D2 offer, whether it's D1, whatever it is, when you really work at something, you're gonna reap the benefits of it. And I think that during the time when I'm working this whole time, it's frustrating, but I don't think there was ever a time where like, man, I've never considered quitting, never
Mm-hmm.
considered like stopping what I was doing, because I knew if I did any of that, then I immediately lost the battle.
Mm-hmm.
It was an ongoing fight, but believing that what I was doing was going to pay off, and really focusing on doing what I can do, what's in my control,
Mm-hmm.
rather than counting on others. Um, I think doing that is really what helped me. I knew that keeping the faith was the only way that I was going to reach my goal, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously I couldn't count on others anymore. I couldn't count on people believing in me. I just had to believe in myself and believe in God and believe that what He had in store with me was gonna come about, as long as I kept working hard. So I think that it was really the only option for me.
Mm-hmm. So now you had a strong supporting cast, and so, man, I appreciate your parents so much because of their humility, and they're just genuine people. And so when I would talk to your parents, your mom would say this often, man, I just feel so bad for the boy. I just feel so bad, and she didn't intervene into the trouble or the difficulty that you were facing. And so, man, talk to us a little bit about the the way your parents helped you throughout this process by giving you words of encouragement, or maybe not intervening as much as they probably desired to intervene, which will probably cause you to not make it to a certain point.
My parents have always been the parents who aren't like getting in the coach's ear. They've
Mm-hmm.
never been one to gossip about certain players or he should be playing over this
Yeah.
person. They kind of sat back and just enjoyed watching their kid perform or doing whatever they do. And I think that them always being there for me and
Mm-hmm.
willing to sacrifice and always offering me words of encouragement. Like my dad will tell me time and time again, like, you're gonna go far in whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just observing like the effort I'm putting in, he's seeing that, he's just constantly reassuring me, like, this is gonna pay off, this is gonna
Yeah.
pay off, this is gonna pay off. And I think that really helped me to keep going. That really helped
Mm-hmm.
me to keep pushing through whatever it was. They may not have been the one to like email coach, hey, why is my kid not playing?
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously better than him. He does this, and this. They just kind of sit back and let me work. And during this time, they've been taking me to morning workouts, picking me up from workouts, doing everything they can in their power for help me be successful. Everything that's within their control, while also not getting in other people's ears or trying to get on other people. Like, hey, you're not doing my kid right.
Yeah, which is an example for a lot of people to learn from, whether it's athletes or the parents. And one of the things I do want to say to the parents is, they're, you can't deny the love that a parent has for their child. I mean, that's hard to deny. It's natural. Um, it's normal. Is what obviously we have a nature of. But one of the things that we have to be careful of when as a parent is intervening at the wrong time, because we feel a certain type of way about a situation that has come up or a situation that is actually happening, that hurts the child. And I don't know of any successful individual that has not been hurt some way, some form or some fashion, throughout the process, and have gotten to where they are. And so the thing that parents have to understand is, it's okay to love your child. It's I mean, that's what you should be doing. But you have to calculate when you intervene and when you step back. If you intervene too soon, you can cost everything. If you don't intervene at certain times, you can cost everything. So I think you have to be sensitive to when you intervene, and you have to study the time, and you have to study the circumstances and situations, and be aware of what it is that you should be doing. And I think that is the thing that makes this situation so unique, is because Ethan parents, they didn't intervene like what some parents may do. They were very trusting in the process. They put more emphasis on him working at it, working hard, and he was successful at it. And I can speak of other situations where there's parents who they just push the child to keep improvement, keep improvement, keep improvement, and to look inward about what it is that you should be working on. Griffin Little is a great example of somebody who had parents who didn't intervene outside of the fact of wanting to be knowledgeable about the process and what it takes to actually get to a certain point. So I think parents, we just have to be very, very careful about when we intervene. We understand why we're intervening, but we have to be careful about the timing of it. And so I think that's very, very critical. I just, obviously that you're going to Indiana State, and so you're going to be a receiver at Indiana State. Can you talk to us about what you see yourself doing and kind of how do you fit that program? Because it is your only offer. So that was a situation where you opted to be a part of the program because there was not really a lot of opportunities left, but it seems to be a good fit even in the midst of everything.
I did not only go there because it was my only offer, but I think that had I had some of the offers from the other schools that were talking to me, some of the ones that had started the recruiting process, I think I still might have chose Indiana State just because of the faith they had in me and the trust they took. Because I didn't have the film, I didn't have all the things that a lot of other kids did, and I think them still trusting me and seeing me perform and just, I wouldn't say taking a gamble, but taking a risk that they may not take. A lot of other kids, that was really comforting to me and helped me to know that like this is a place I could really call home, and all the coaches are super supportive, and we haven't met the great majority of them face to face because of all the COVID things, and it's still a dead period until April now. But them constantly reaching out to me, hey, good luck this week. Wish you the best of luck in the postseason. Stay safe, stay healthy. All these are just constant words of encouragement and like things that make me feel comfortable, things that'll make me feel at home.
And you get to go with our boy Geraldo. You go with our boy Geraldo at Homestead. So that's an interesting situation because you and Jared grew up together. And obviously you two are different but the same.
A little bit.
So, being able to go to a school with your lifelong friend, how does that feel? How does that,
It's exciting. It's a comfort. It's something that I look forward to just growing a stronger bond with him, but also it's a bit of a responsibility. Not that he can't take care of himself, but it's just it's good to have somebody to look out for you and somebody to look out for because it holds you both accountable. So
you hear that, Geraldo? That's for you, Geraldo. And so, is there anything that you wanna leave the people with, the athletes with? Because I think that again, we'll have you on again, but I believe that your experience and what you went through, I think is definitely a case study. I think a lot of people should really look at it and evaluate it, assess it, and to draw out experiences that they may go through. I mean, you didn't have an offer going into senior year. You got one your senior season. You came in with, it was, and forgive me, but when you first came in, man, I'm just gonna be real with you.
You tell me often.
I was just like, okay, let's just see what happens. And but it's interesting because, man, faith has driven you and gotten you so far. And one of the things that I want to be able to challenge not only the viewers but challenge myself and challenge everybody on is that you're an example of somebody who said they believe in God. And when you got challenged with that belief, you kept the trust and the faith. So oftentimes, a lot of people say they believe, and then once something comes up, they leave that belief. And so I think that's a huge thing for me because I was in experiences where I had to call on the only source of power that there was and that there is for me to be successful and to get through it. And you've done that. And that just means that you're going to have another challenge that is going to challenge you even more. Yeah. And you have to be willing to stay strong in that. And so I think is definitely a case study for everybody to look at. He's done it the right way. Never, ever, got so frustrated to where he started to look outward and start to blame other people for not doing X, Y, and Z. He just took it all in, and it was internal. And he worked at it. He got better. And now he sits here as a D1 commit to Indiana State. and not only an asset in the football realm, but he has a four.
It's a 3.7 now.
Oh my god. Okay, so that's still fine. 3.7.
4.37.
Oh, 4.37.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a
not a
4.37.
3.7. It's a 4.37.
Oh, so when I was saying
went out.
4.22, you were saying that was freshman year.
Yeah, like.
Oh, you wanted me to ask that. Okay, so he has a
No, I didn't.
4.37 right now. So his GPA is actually higher than what it was. But you know, he's doing great in the school. He's doing great in the spiritual realm. He's doing great in the mental realm. He's doing great in the athletic realm. And he's just a testament that you can be good at every single aspect, but it takes work. It's obviously not easy. I remember when he was younger, I think you had to leave on Wednesdays or something like that. What days was it that you had to go to? You had to go to like Bible study or something like that?
Youth group.
Huh?
Youth group was Wednesday nights. Yeah.
Wednesday night youth group. And so you can do it all. You can do it in the faith realm. You can do it in the school realm. You can do it in the athletic realm. And to me, that's what the ultimate athlete is to be one in every single aspect of your life and not just focus on the physical side. So I definitely appreciate you being on. We'll have you on again before you leave for school. And we might have your boy Geraldo on. We might have you on at the same time. So that's it, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And if you got any feedback or any comments, we would definitely love for you to send it to us through social media. You can follow us on Traction AP on Instagram, Traction Athletic Performance on Facebook, and on Twitter, Traction AP as well. So that'll be it.